The apparent messages that were exchanged between the two students shed even more light on this troubling situation, as a Wisconsin elementary school teacher was recently arrested for allegedly having an intimate relationship with an 11-year-old student. Slidebar Madison Bergman, a 24-year-old elementary school teacher from Wisconsin, has been accused of making out with an 11-year-old student at Rivercrest Elementary School. Let's just take a moment to process that, because she has been arrested and charged with 1 count of first-degree child sexual assault with a child under the age of 13. Oh, and here's the kicker. She was supposed to be married to her longtime boyfriend this July. The way this was all uncovered was that the boy's parents, one of my cousins, is in the 5th grade, and I can't envision a man conversing with her. How we talk. I realize we have a unique relationship, and I truly do cherish you more than anybody on the planet, yet I must be the grown-up here and stop one claimed text trade. The casualty said, quote, "Ha ha, brother. I simply need to make out with you that the educator is blamed for Ling, and I do as well." Similar to all the time, she additionally guarantees that she was fixated on this kid in one of these messages. As far as foundation screening, mental screening of these educators, this must be the 25th or 30th case. We've seen the nation over where a youthful female instructor in mid-20s or mid-30s has supplicated upon a youthful male understudy. Presently, we've seen this with male hunter instructors throughout the years positively, and I see this in my examinations with men pursuing young ladies and young men as well. Yet there's a going thing on in the realm of instructors and understudies that I have never seen before in my 42 years of being a writer. Thus you need to ponder, is this reality benefiting from dream? Which I think it is. You see increasingly more dream pornography accessible on various virtual entertainment stages, fetishizing, instructor understudy, connections. And is that piece of this? I don't have the foggiest idea yet. It's exceptionally upsetting, and when you take a gander at the messages here, it's unquestionable that you realize there are intense claims, logical wrongdoings carried out. And how would you fix this youngster after this has happened? That is my first and essential idea, and he's so youthful, and a ton of the times we cover these accounts, the female culprit or the female suspect is hitched or going to be hitched or has kids. What is that? Let you know, we had one in Tennessee where the denounced educator was hitched to a sheriff's duty. So, envision the blowback there as a matter of some importance on the off chance that the charges are valid. And I feel that case was going towards a request understanding. It pulverizes a family, and for what to have. This dream, clearly something happens in the brain of somebody like this where they're either attempting to reproduce a wonderful circumstance in their past, some kind of contact with a kid that they haven't had in some time, and there's a need to reproduce this. Or it's a power excursion. The educator for this situation should have some sort of sensation of control that is energizing to her as far as a sexual dream to have. Control over this youngster in the study hall, and afterward to have him in her vehicle or in a shroud room or any place this is proceeding to kiss, and have him physically stir her. It's truly upsetting. Thus, I think, it's the ideal opportunity for school regions to truly investigate who they're recruiting and what sort of screening they go through during the employing system. Something that truly stood apart about this case was the correspondences, since it's being accounted for the kids' folks, given Bergman, when they obviously welcomed her on a skiing getaway with the family. They exchanged numbers, and that is the way this young man and this educator were beginning to convey. That was a fascinating subtlety, that evidently they could have had such a lot of confidence in her to welcome her on an excursion. And I don't believe it's phenomenal for families to turn out to be near to educators. I know when my kids were more youthful, it was normal for me to know the educators. I don't think anyone, at any point, went along with us on a ski excursion or any such thing. Yet we knew the instructors. We were amicable with them at school exercises and pledge drives, and that's what things like, and never DI. DI suspect of any kind of untoward relationship or contact. It simply didn't occur to me, even in the beginning of the Hunter examinations. And you can envision how cautious I am. And particularly, back when you realize my folks are grown-ups now, yet when they were kids, the way that cautious eye was regarding screening and background checks for, anything from a guitar instructor to a guide. You realize I had my own historical verification, yet not every person has, admittance to the things I approach. So I dream higher perspective. We must be better about employing and screening miniature level God. This is a particularly upsetting case for this lady to ask upon this BO. And once more, such countless individuals view at this as a school kid dream type thing that, God, any little fellow would adore this and love the consideration from a gorgeous grown-up lady. Yet it has harm. That has an effect for a long time to come. This youngster has been presented to things at 11 years old or 12 that they ought not be presented to. And presently, the guardians need to manage all that. They are unable to even process the extreme apprehension. A young boy in the process of growing up is unable to comprehend it. The child has no idea why he is excited about it. The youngster doesn't actually have the foggiest idea why his body is responding to this consideration. The manner in which it's responding to, you realize we've found in our Hunter examination. Situations where folks have followed young ladies as youthful as 12 years of age. And again, 7 days before keep going, we were out on a sting. And, it doesn't appear to be disappearing at any point in the near future, in spite of our examinations, regardless of the mindfulness. And it shares with me that there is an uncommon level of this movement going on the web and on a portion of these virtual entertainment stages. And there's been a blast, as you and I am aware of online entertainment stages. It's not simply AOL and hooray, like when we began. So it comes down to guardians additionally needing these discussions, and sadly apparently guardians need to converse with their young men about the fitting and unseemly potential lead contact among them, and female educators and male instructors too. This cuts across all the whole way. Across the board, however, you wouldn't typically think you'd need to tell your child, okay, watch out for the decent miss this, and that she might offer something unseemly to you. Yet I suppose you must have this sweeping talk now and proceed to improve the conversation as the kid progresses in years. They must have that discussion. Since you referenced something about the school I need to peruse you something from the school I need. Your response to this. So first, the rule of this school says, we are stunned and upset by this news. Our most prominent concern is for the Waterway Peak School People Group, and the kids influenced then a representative for the school locale said to a limited extent, quote, finding out about a school staff part a supposed unseemly direct that breaks trust is profoundly disturbing for us all. We figure out the weightiness of this present circumstance and are focused on offering the vital help for any kid who might be affected. We generously demand the school local area to regard the protection of Hudson understudies and their families and cease from spreading reports or hypotheses. They additionally gave guiding administrations to any of understudies and the instructors who may be impacted by these claims. Converse with me about what you think about that. Well, I believe it's unseemly reaction. I figure the better activity would have been to screen the educator before this occurred. Yet again, you must be sensible about the obligations of a school area. They will be stunned by this similarly. As you probably are aware, the parent and the other guardians are in the school area, so this shouldn't occur. You shouldn't need to ask a 24-year-old educator. Do you believe you will have a penchant to have a personal contact with a 5th grader in your group? I imply that it opposes good judgment that anyone would do that. Yet obviously we're at that period where we've seen so many of these situations where we really want to pose that inquiry, and we really want to evaluate for that, since I've never at any point seen a level of this action as we're seeing and as we've seen throughout the past year, particularly 2 years. Why? It's stunning, yet it seems like the school locale is doing all that it can to manage what is happening, and bits of gossip will go crazy, since that is the idea of the climate guardians are going to G-bots about this, and children will discuss it. There will be a ton of action via virtual entertainment, and tragically a ton of kidding about an intense subject. Here, and let me wrap this up with what we can anticipate here. So she has been accused of 1 count of first-degree kid rape with a kid younger than 13, in how I might interpret Wisconsin regulation that characterizes it even as sexual contact, so you didn't have to have sex to be viewed as at fault for this Class B crime. Once more, my comprehension is as long as 60 years in jail, and concerning her ongoing lawful, she was let out on a $25,000 bond. She's not permitted to be on school property or have contact with the person in question, obviously, or anybody younger than 18. She's likewise dependent upon GPS checking. She has been placed on administrative leave and suspended. Nothing unexpected there. Her next court appearance is toward the month's end, on May 30th. Do you imagine that here we might see a request bargain? Since I don't have the foggiest idea how you safeguard against a case like this, except if you say that I think this is a tailor-presented defense, needs to go through treatment directing, maybe you realize a modest quantity of prison time. You realize you can discuss the prison time, and is that legitimate discipline with practically no earlier history of this? It appears relying upon the purview. It appears as though it's set out toward a request with like the probation, enrollment as a sex wrongdoer, and presumably no prison time. Now you need to know who I feel frustrated about is the life partner who had definitely all like no clue about this was continuing. And how would you swallow this? I mean, God, I feel horrendous for that fell. And what he's managing, right? Currently, it's one thing you realize your soulmate's engaging in extramarital relations. Yet this is the kind of thing completely unique. This is unforg assuming the claims are valid, and it shows up positively that there's solid proof they are. This is one of those unpardonable things, and it's made gigantic blowback across a whole local area. A life partner, a kid, and a whole school region is staggering from this since one lady's dream. And I would agree that you realize there was perhaps a method for guarding it, assuming that it was only this young man emerging and saying this occurred. Yet, when you have the messages and you have the notes, the messages, the notes are better, believe it. No doubt it's anything but a Romeo-Juliet circumstance. This is in a school undergrad showing collaborator associated with a 17 or 18-year-old rookie. This is a kid, easy being taken advantage of and asked upon by a grown-up. That is end of story. Chris Hansen can look at him on takedown on Honest to Goodness, and the web recording hunters discovered extraordinary seeing you. Thanks for watching Gossip Now.